All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about something pretty incredible, the world of smart pills. These are basically tiny little vehicles on a massive, complex journey through the human body.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? You swallow a pill, and somehow it's supposed to navigate this whole winding, hostile maze inside you to drop off its medicine at one very specific spot. How does it do that? How does it not just get destroyed the second it hits your stomach acid?
For decades, one of the absolute hardest-to-reach destinations for any medication has been the colon. As this research review puts it, it was a total black box. Scientists knew it was there, they knew they wanted to get to it, but how to do it reliably? That was a huge mystery.
So why bother? Why go through all this trouble to reach this, final frontier of our digestive system? Well, it turns out that if you can successfully land a drug in the colon, you unlock a whole new world of treatments.
Think about it. For local issues like inflammatory bowel disease or colon cancer, you want the medicine right there on site, not floating around your whole system causing side effects. Also, the colon is actually a much calmer place chemically than the stomach or small intestine. Fewer digestive enzymes trying to tear things apart. That makes it perfect for really sensitive drugs. Plus, things move through the colon slowly, which gives a drug more time to be absorbed. This even opens the door to something called chronopharmacology therapy. That's a fancy way of saying we can time the drug release to your body's daily rhythms.
But to get to this amazing destination, that little pill has to run a brutal obstacle course. Seriously, you should think of the GI tract as a gauntlet that's specifically designed to destroy and dissolve everything that comes through it.
First up, the stomach. It's basically a churning pit of acid. If the pill somehow survives that, it immediately gets thrown into the small intestine, which is just flooded with enzymes ready to break it down. The whole mission is to get through both of these danger zones completely unharmed and only open up for business once it's safe inside the colon.
So, how in the world do drug designers pull this off? This is where the real genius comes in. They've developed some incredibly clever strategies. You can think of them as ingenious disguises that let the pill sneak through enemy territory until it reaches its target.
The first set of disguises uses what we'll call environmental triggers. One approach reacts to the changing chemistry along the gut, specifically the acidity or pH level. The other approach is even wilder. It reacts to the unique biology of the colon. We're talking about the trillions of bacteria that live there and nowhere else.
Okay, let's start with the chemical key. The pH level inside you isn't the same everywhere. It's super acidic in your stomach, like a pH of 1 or 2, but it gets more and more neutral as you go down. These pH-sensitive systems are covered in a special polymer coating that's like a locked door, and that door will only open when the pH outside hits a very specific number. And the level of control here is just amazing. By picking the right polymer, you can choose exactly where the pill unlocks. So, if you use a polymer like Uttergit L100, it'll dissolve once the pH gets above 6.0, which happens in the small intestine. But if your target is the colon, use something like Uttergit S100, which holds tight until the pH is above 7.0, making sure that payload gets delivered to the right address.
Now for the biological key. This approach is absolutely brilliant. Instead of relying on pH, these systems basically make a deal with the bacteria that are already living inside you. The pill is coated with something that our own human digestive enzymes can't even touch, but to the special bacteria that only live in the colon, that coating looks like dinner. I mean, the colon is just packed with a massive army of bacteria, over 400 different species, and they produce these really unique enzymes. So you coat a pill in something natural, like pectin from fruit or chitin from shells. The pill cruises right through the stomach and small intestine. But as soon as it hits the colon, those bacterial gatekeepers go to town, they eat the coating, and boom, the drug is released right where it needs to be.
Okay, but what if you don't want to rely on the gut's environment at all? What if it's too variable? Well, the next set of solutions are just pure mechanical engineering. They rely on something much more predictable: time itself.
So, while the time it takes for food to leave your stomach can be all over the place, the journey time through the small intestine is surprisingly consistent, usually about 3 to 5 hours. Time-controlled systems use this predictable travel time to their advantage. They're basically just ticking clocks, designed to go off after a set amount of time has passed.
And one of the most dramatic ways they do this is with an explosion mechanism. It's so cool. First, an outer layer dissolves in the small intestine. This lets water start to seep into the capsule's core. Inside, there's a material that swells up as it absorbs water. Over the next few hours, it swells and swells, building up pressure until, pop,
The capsule literally bursts open, releasing the drug, hopefully right as it's entering the colon.
Now, if you want even more precision, something less like an explosion and more like a steady, controlled release, you get into the really high-tech stuff. We're talking about an osmotically controlled system, which is basically a tiny, microscopic hydraulic pump.
So here's how this little pump works. The capsule has 2 rooms inside. As water from your intestine gets pulled into one room, the push compartment, it starts to swell. This swelling acts like a piston, slowly and very steadily pushing the drug, which is in a gel, out of a teensy, laser-drilled hole on the other end. It's just a stunning piece of tiny engineering.
So we've seen some incredible science, right? Chemical keys, bacterial accomplices, tiny hydraulic pumps. It's amazing. But what does it all really mean for us, for our health? Why does this matter so much?
Well, it all comes down to turning our body's own incredible complexity into an advantage. Remember those bacterial gatekeepers? We're not just talking about a few microbes. We're harnessing an entire ecosystem of over 400 different species, this hidden world inside us, to make these treatments smarter.
And this is where it makes a real-world difference. For someone with arthritis, a pulsatile system can release pain medicine right before they wake up to fight that morning stiffness. For asthma that gets worse at night, a time-controlled system can release medication while you sleep. For ulcerative colitis, you use a pH or bacteria-triggered system to put the drug right on the inflamed tissue. It's all about getting the right drug to the right place at exactly the right time.
And the overall payoff here is just huge. Targeted delivery means you get way fewer side effects because the drug isn't just washing over your whole body. It often means you can use a lower dose, and it lets us use a whole new class of sensitive drugs that would normally be destroyed in the stomach.
So when you really think about it, we're not just talking about simple pills anymore. These things are incredibly sophisticated. They're microscopic, intelligent delivery vehicles, and each one is programmed for a very specific, very critical mission. And this technology, as amazing as it is now, just makes you wonder, what's next? Are we going to see pills that are personalized not just to you, but to the unique chemical and biological world inside your own gut? The journey of the smart pill is really just getting started. Thanks for tuning in.